Welcome to Board of Advisors podcast. I'm Jessica Conti, and today I have with me the honor of talking with Gene Edelman from Azure 3D Printed Homes. So good morning, Gene.
Good morning, Jessica. Yes. Great to see you this morning.
I am thrilled to have this conversation with you because you are such an honored advisor here in the community of Board of Advisors. Very respected for what you've accomplished and especially your vision for Azure 3D Printed Homes. So let's start there.
Sure.
What brought you to creating this company?
Yeah. Well, a couple things. First of all, I lived through wildfires in Malibu 6.5 years ago. Yeah. And after the fires, while my home survived, I volunteered for LA County Fire Department and met with hundreds of homeowners who lost their homes. And standing on the ashes of their homes, the question always was, how can we rebuild with just insurance proceeds? How long will we be out of this community? And that made me think that we gotta find a way to build faster and less expensive. And secondly, I've developed real estate for decades, and the risk for a real estate developer or investor is you start project when interest rates are low, and by the time you finish, because it takes so long, interest rates are high, and now you can't refinance. You get into the problem. So I was just always thought it'd be so much nicer that if you have an idea, be able to execute much faster and still with high quality. So those are the two things that led me.
It's solving a major, major crisis in the world. But you chose to not just solve the crisis, but to solve a second crisis.
Yeah.
Tell us about that, because the homes are made out of recycled
we
material,
use a lot
right?
of recycled materials, recycled plastic, and we really have a plastic crisis. I mean, both affordable housing and waste are crises colliding. We make 380 million tons of plastic every year in the world, and less than 5% gets recycled. So think about it. 5% means out of 20 water bottles, only one gets recycled. So all the effort that we make in separating our trash, and then think of this bin of trash, and only 5% gets recycled. So it's just a major problem. And it just happens that we are able to take advantage of it. Plastic makes a very good resin for our 3D printing process. So the material that actually adds the strengths and durability to our product is fiberglass. That's what, since you visit our factory, it feels like cement, right? But it's really fiberglass. I mean, fiberglass is used for boats, exteriors of the car. So it's a very, very solid material. And plastic acts as a resin. It connects layer to layer. So it was just an incredible discovery. And now, in the time when we have tariffs on lumber and steel, we can say, look, we have plenty of domestic product here, and it's in plentiful supply. So if anything, as we expand, the more product we use, the less is the price. Again, great solution.
And I had the honor of touring. Wow, what an incredible opportunity that was, because in your mind, you just, you want to see how it's all done, right? You have the robot arms and it's so precise, but the speed of it is phenomenal.
Speed and total automation. I mean, it really requires a human to push a button.
Right.
And so, our biggest challenge, that process that took us 2.5 years of work. Actually, yesterday was 6-year anniversary when my business partner and I decided to just have an idea.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you.
All right, great.
And so we originally started just as a construction company with 3 bullet points on the board as a mission or vision. Find ways to build faster, find ways to build less expensive, and less waste, right? We had no idea where it's going to lead us. So it took us years and millions of dollars of our own investment to come up with a way to 3D print. Now, the 3D printing part is the fastest and least difficult part. I mean, it still requires a lot of capital, right? That's why we're fundraising.
Yes.
But once it's done, then it takes us 3 to 4 weeks to finish the unit.
Yes.
So what we're now working on is automating the process that we kind of knew all along, but being in construction and development all these years, Now we need to figure out how to build the cabinets faster and bathrooms and showers and the finishes and electric. So that's what our biggest challenge is. It's like we have way too much capacity to 3D print and don't have enough space in our warehouse to finish all the units quickly.
And I hear you have a lot of demand for it too.
Actually just saw one of the members here yesterday. I felt so bad because she just last week sent me 2 customers and I didn't reply to their emails. We get just after the fires in January of this year that destroyed 16,000 homes, $30 billion worth of damage. We just get inundated with customers who are calling and they want to come and visit our factory the same day or the next day. So, our challenge is, and these are folks, you just can't tell them, I'll call you next week, right?
No.
They just learn about solution, or they just got settlement from their insurance company, or they just got payout from a utility company that took responsibility for the fire in Altadena. So they're eager to get started. And so I did very little travel for the last 5 weeks, and also not going to do much in the next couple of weeks because our sales team and my business partner just need help of meeting with people. And it usually requires customer to come in the factory, just like it's now we have videos but still people just don't realize it until they come and see it, right? It makes a huge difference.
It makes a huge difference.
Right, you have to kick the tires.
And certainly when someone's in need of a home, right? If it was a result of a crisis or something tragic like the fires, to actually have that process, like you're hand holding them through, really difficult time.
Yeah, but with AI, it's getting much, much easier. Basically, it used to be that when you get if you notice, again, just 6.5 years ago, when we were rebuilding from Malibu, it would take weeks for us to produce a design. I mean, we would get their address, we would get the plans if they had it. See, most of the people, when they had the fire, the plans are in the basement, so the plans are gone,
They're burned.
right?
They're gone.
But today, architects have electronic versions, or you can take a Google map and see what was there. Yeah. Once we get the address and the picture or visual of what was there, it takes us just hours to generate potential different plans. So usually they visit on Friday. I can meet with them on Monday on their site and show them different options of what are available. I mean, the first house where now have a client in Altadena, he literally, he contacted us on Friday. On Monday, we had the plan. On Tuesday, his evening spent time with his family, looking at different options. On Tuesday, accepted. We're going to go to permit in about 2 weeks. Wow. And by building in the factory, we can work with a third-party plan approval agency, so they get the approvals through the state for the building. And now both LA County and LA City allow an architect or engineer to do self-certification. So we work with a national firm. They have very good insurance and have very good reputation. They can go at the same time as we apply to the state, they can go to the county and get a permit over the counter.
That's incredible.
So the whole process is like in 3 to 4 weeks. I mean, today is middle of August. We think this homeowner will move in before Christmas. Where was it? How is it possible? And it's not that small. It's a 2,000 square feet home and an ADU. So it's possible.
Yeah, that time frame is unheard of in traditional construction.
And people just don't believe it. I mean, people are just so conditioned that construction has to take long and you don't know the budget. Why do people go to an auto dealership or go on a Tesla website and expect to click on the button and pick up the car the next day? If we were to build cars the way we build homes, you can imagine it's just like all the parts would arrive to your backyard. You would have a bunch of guys show up. Tires may be the wrong side. I mean, in the last 100 years, again, 100 years ago, the way people built homes was carpenter, was nails, and go at it. The way, and we had a horse and a buggy for transportation. Look what happened. We have electric vehicles now, and the way we build homes is exactly the same way it was 100 years ago.
Now, you were solving the crisis, but what do you tell homeowners that want to look at this alternative, for their next home?
Yeah. I mean, what homeowners realize, again, looking at some of the units that were already finished, nobody will ever know that it was done in the factory or it was 3D printed. Right. People will wonder, how can you accomplish, for example, we can do curves, we can do some unique designs that if you were to do it with 2x4, you could never do it. It would be very expensive.
Yes.
So the best thing the homeowners can do, we now have a bunch of eco resorts, glamping resorts that have units, is to go and stay in one. Yeah. I went with one of my investors and one of our colleagues just 2 weeks ago and stayed in there. We have 3 units in San Diego. It was just beautiful. I mean, the units are super quiet because they're very well insulated. It was a hot day, but even on a hot day, because when we have good insulation, just a small air conditioning system kept it very comfortable. And we had just a delightful event. Nobody knew or cared that it cost the developer 30% less than normal, or it was done in the factory. Another example, one of our investors made an investment in a glamping resort, an eco resort in Colorado. And he called me in June on a Sunday. He says, Gene, I just made an investment, and I just realized that the founder of this doesn't have the cabins, and we're totally pre-sold. Guess what? Our unit. He called me in June, and the unit arrived just yesterday. Oh, and it's a beautiful 300. It's a larger unit, but and it's the first one, and we're gonna now ship 2 more, in the next week or 2, and they're gonna rent these units again. The best story I say is about one of our early clients. It's a Three Bones Resort. They bought a unit for $65,000, and they're renting it for $750 a night. Total return on investment in less than 5 months. Wow,
that's great.
And they're pre-sold for 9 months in advance.
You want to get into short-term vacation rental business.
And you know that business very well yourself.
Homes, I do.
Yeah.
What impressed me the most in the tour was how beautiful these units are. When you think printed home, you think, oh, okay, it's going to be plain or doesn't have the style or the finish, but it's the opposite.
Yeah, manufactured housing has when people think about maybe manufactured home, they think of a trailer, right?
Right.
They think of a FEMA trailer. This is we really don't even call it manufactured housing. Well, it kind of falls into it. It's either prefab or modular. And the reality is Japan, 50% of its construction is done in factories. Scandinavia, 25% of its construction done in factories. Wow. US, only 4%. Why? If you've been to Scandinavia and Japan, it's beautiful architecture, right? And nobody, it's just, we are a leader in so many industries, but in construction, it's for whatever reason, it's still kind of the old-fashioned way, but it's changing. We have such labor shortages that you have to do much more automation. We have such issues with tariffs that the costs are just uncertain. You don't know how much lumber is going to cost by the time you get the permit. Again, using something that's American-made. So in addition to all of this other advantages, we now have some, issues with labor and materials. They're just dry. It's almost like a necessity. It's not a luxury or it's a new concept. You got to do it differently to be able to solve the crisis you talked about. Both the waste and the affordable housing.
And when it's in the factory, you can produce around the clock if you wanted to.
Around the clock, doesn't matter what weather is like. Again, in California, the weather is pretty mild all along, but we get lots of demand from Northeast and Midwest, and even we're opening our new factory in Colorado because the weather there is so unpredictable, and and companies can only build part of the time. So we can do all construction in the factory controlled, and the guys who work for us, we transitioned our whole workforce from building traditionally 6 years ago to now building in the factory. They love it. because not only they know exactly where they're going every day, where traditionally they just didn't know. They didn't know whether they're going to drive to Malibu or they're going to go to East LA, right? Now they know exactly where they're going. The facility is totally secure. You've been there. There's a gate and
it's like Fort Knox.
Fort Knox. And they can learn different skills. Actually, one of our best carpenters has interest in 3D printing. So he is in his spare time, because the 3D printers are working 24 hours. So at the end of his shift, he is learning from 3D printing engineer on different materials. You have some younger folks who are coming in without any skills, and the supervisor is always there. Again, when you're on the construction site, your project manager usually manages 3 to 4 different projects. He or she are there 1 or 2 days a week. Here, the supervisor is there every day, so they can get training. And it also doesn't require as many skilled laborers, because a lot of the processes are kind of very automated. It's not just we 3D print, we also have a process to manufacture the walls from light gauge steel. And so, I know you remember, every one of these panels comes with pre-labeled. So it's like putting together a Lego set. So there's just so many other benefits for training the workforce. Quality. The inspector comes to our factory before the unit leaves. So the inspector sees, here is the wall before the plumbing and electric lines, and here it is after. And if there are any issues, and plus we record everything that's going on. So here's another thing. The customer doesn't have to go to their site to see whether the worker showed up. The customers have linked to our video. They can see what happens day to day, moment to moment. So
you videotape the manufacturing process?
Yeah.
They can watch their house being built?
They can watch their house being built. And the stress that I remember from the folks I worked with, the calls that they make to contractor, is concrete truck going to show up today? Are materials going to show up? They need to go back and forth, uncertainty when it's going to be finished. So that is, I often forget to mention that, but just the relief of stress from the customer perspective of just knowing when things are going to happen. Even during delivery, we have a monitor inside the unit so that somebody can see the truck moving to their site, so that they, especially if it's shipping out of town, they can monitor when it's going to arrive. So lots of advantages that I even forget to mention.
You are seriously revolutionizing the housing industry. This is incredible, and I can see that there's a big vision for you for the future. Tell us about the vision.
We really think this is a moonshot to solve the affordability crisis. I mentioned about 16,000 homes lost in LA fires. The largest contractor in LA County built less than 200 homes a year. How are we going to build? You do 200 homes a year to replace 16,000. It's going to be decades, right? So that's number one. Number two, we have over 75,000 homeless in LA County alone. I have 2 benches at the end of the street where I live now, and there are 3 guys who share those 2 benches. It's unacceptable. Look, as you know, I came from Ukraine, and we hear about just issues all over the world. But for the most developed country in the world to have thousands of people, and so we got contracts just in the last several months with San Luis Obispo and Camarillo to build these homeless villages. We started just last Monday on a 62-unit project. We will complete in the factory in 6 weeks. They will be installed before the end of the year. Right now, these folks who are going to move in there live in an encampment in one of the most beautiful areas in San Luis Obispo. It's a hiking trail that is absolutely not usable by folks. And so there are many, there is a movement in California to eliminate unsheltered homelessness. Because when you have people in their own home, be it little, you have opportunity to provide the services that folks need, But when they're on the street, they're exposed to weather, drugs, issues with law enforcement. So you can actually have a plan to help them. And many communities are now, San Jose being the first one, is going to eliminate unsheltered homelessness before the end of the year. You can force people to move out from encampments if you can offer them a choice of somewhere to go.
Yes.
You cannot force them to move out of encampment if you don't have a place. No. And so San Jose reduced their homelessness from last year by 25%. And Mayor Mahan is an unbelievable leader. And he is going to eliminate unsheltered homelessness before the end of the year. I mean, when did we think in our lifetime that we will solve this problem, right? There is now a solution. What LA used to spend LA spent $800,000 per unit to build units for homelessness. That doesn't make sense. Our units are 20 to 40,000. So it's 5%. And now you have money left to provide the services people need. So that's kind of our mission. In terms of vision, on one hand, I want to be able to help people rebuild. I want to be able to build. Look, I have 3 kids, and none of them can afford a home. One of them just bought a home in Colombia. He bought a beautiful condo with an unbelievable view for cash. He is 30 years old. He could never do it in America, right? So we got to solve that problem. We got to solve the rebuilding problem. And most importantly, we got to solve the homelessness problem. And we have a product to do it. So now it's just a matter of raising more capital so we can increase our capacity and provide the solution.
And Azure Homes is going to do it. I know a lot of people have, their finger on the pulse of how fast you've grown, and you've even received a recent award in the industry.
Yeah, we've been very lucky. We've only been at this for, so while we had an idea 6 years ago, we printed our prototype in March of 22, so less than 3.5 years ago. But in 3.5 years, we were nominated for awards, and for the first 2.5 years, it was just, we didn't have wide enough adoption. But this year, South by Southwest gave us Innovation Award for Urban Experience. National Association of Realtors in June gave us Innovator of the Year Award. Fast Company selected as one of the 10 most innovative real estate companies globally. All of this happened in the last 6 months. So it really is, it sends shivers down my skin that we finally also recognized. But the biggest beneficiaries of these are our customers. They're the ones who are getting to experience. And so some of these early adopters they've taken a chance on something that's not in wide distribution, but now it's becoming much more mainstream. And so that's our vision, is to really build a company of scale much quicker than I've ever done. This is my 4th startup, so you kind of learn lessons. But I've never been involved in anything that you build a product and customers come in and they have a vision for what they can use it for. I think I told you this story. First customer came and I said, what are you planning to use this for? He said, for glamping resort. I had to Google under the table to know what glamping meant. Because he just saw the picture on Facebook, and of course he owns the property, and drove down his Harley Davidson to our shop and just got all excited. And that happens all the time. It's just people come, and sometimes we ask them to send us the address of their property, and sometimes they just send us nothing. Because they say, well, I'm looking for something. And when they see what they saw, they might have come to see, to look at the ADU in their backyard, right? Because not everybody in California can do that. And then they call us back and said, I want to do a village of 30 of these tiny homes. Because they saw what's possible.
Yes, so. And when they see an Azure home, how sexy they are.
Right.
They are sexy-looking homes, beautifully designed.
Those curves make them sexy.
They are. Wow, Gene, it is going to be amazing to see the next 5 years of what Azure is going to do in this world.
Yeah.
So tell us, for everyone listening, how do they find you, and what's the choice for them to work with Azure?
I'm easily findable. I'm on LinkedIn or on Instagram, both on LinkedIn personally, on Instagram for Azure Printed Homes. Mm-hmm. And people who are interested in either buying or one of the units for themselves or investing in the company, they should contact me or you. And and we can make this happen.
And the website? The
website is AzurePrintedHomes.com.
AzurePrintedHomes.com.
Yep.
And it's spelled Azure, right?
Yeah.
But we pronounce it Azure. You told me that.
Exactly.
Yeah, I got it right? Okay, good. Well, thank you, Gene, for spending this time with us here at Board of Advisors podcast. And it's been an honor. Yes.
Thank you so much for your time.
Great.